The strangest Marvel characters explained in 14 minutes. From bargain knockoffs to mutants with powers nobody could use. Marvel's history is packed with weird characters, and we're explaining the strangest in just 14 minutes. 1. Dupe. Let's start with one of the strangest little green blobs Marvel ever made. A character so weird that even the X-Men don't know what he really is. This is Dupe. He first floated into comics back in 2001, and right away, fans were confused. Dupe looks like a green potato mixed with slime, and he talks in a language no one should understand, but somehow everyone does. The thing about Dupe is that nobody is sure what he is. Even Captain America once said he was a Cold War weapon, but that only made things more confusing. In battle, Dupe has fought Thor like it was no big deal, and he can shoot psionic blasts out of nowhere. My favorite weird moment, though? He once pulled out a bass guitar and channeled something called the power of funk, which honestly feels like Marvel had too much fun on that day. And if you thought eating a sandwich was strange, Dupe can literally swallow something and spit it out into another dimension. 2. Phone Ranger. Now, speaking of brains breaking, imagine a hero built around phones. Not iPhones, not even flip phones. Old school telephones. The Phone Ranger. Back in 1985, Marvel gave us a repairman named A.G. Bell. Yes, like Alexander Graham Bell, who found a tiny alien ship inside a phone receiver. Instead of screaming, he studied the alien tech, built a suit, and decided his destiny was to protect phones everywhere. And I don't mean in a symbolic way. He literally wanted to stop bad guys from hurting phones. His armor let him tap into every communication system on Earth, but in fights, he was still just a guy dressed like a phone repair superhero. I wish I could tell you he saved the Avengers or stopped Galactus, but no, he just ended up one of those forgotten strange Marvel experiments. 3. The Orb. But if you thought phones were silly, how about a man whose head is a giant eyeball? This is the Orb, and he's part scary, part hilarious. His first version was Drake Shannon, a motorcycle stuntman who crashed, burned his face, and later got a helmet shaped like a giant eye. The helmet could hypnotize people and shoot lasers, which is already ridiculous. But then Marvel said, no, let's go even weirder, and they made a second Orb who was literally born with a giant eyeball for a head. Imagine waking up every day with no mouth, no nose, just one massive eye. During the original Sin storyline, Orb even stole one of the Watcher's eyes, which gave him the power to see and blast like a cosmic spy. But at the end of the day, the Orb is still a man obsessed with eyeballs. And honestly, can you picture him trying to blend in at Starbucks? 4. Gamecock. Moving on to chickens, because why not? Gamecock is one of those characters where you wonder if Marvel just lost a bet. Carlos Cabrera was hired to fight the Falcon, and instead of picking a cool name, he decided to dress like a chicken. No powers, no special tricks, just claws on his hands and feet, and a feathery suit. His gang also dressed like chickens, which honestly feels more embarrassing than threatening. Picture Captain America fighting aliens, while across town, Falcon is stuck battling a guy in a rooster costume. And that right there is why Gamecock never stood a chance of becoming famous. 5. Blue Streak. But Marvel didn't stop with chickens. They gave us roller skates. Don Thomas, also called Blue Streak, joined a villain group, got himself a suit, and strapped on rocket-powered skates. These skates could reach 125 miles an hour, which sounds cool until you realize his main crime was robbing banks while rollerblading. He even made a gang of skaters called the Fast Five. Imagine the police trying to chase a group of criminals rolling down the street like it's the X Games. Even with lasers in his suit and Justin Hammer backing him, he still went down in history as that guy on roller skates. 6. Hindsight Lad. Now, what if your only superpower was being good at saying, "I told you so"? That's basically Hindsight Lad. His real name was Carlton Lafroige, and he tricked his way onto the New Warriors team. His special gift was analyzing past battles and figuring out mistakes, which sounds helpful, but in actual fights, it meant he was useless until everything was already over. After the big Civil War event, he even betrayed his own teammates. So, he had no powers, no loyalty, and the most annoying name in comics. If you ever needed proof that not all Marvel heroes are cool, Hindsight Lad is Exhibit A. 7. Slapstick. But when you think it can't get stranger, Marvel says, what if a clown could break reality? That's slapstick. He literally looks like he stepped out of a Saturday morning cartoon, and his powers are just as wild. He can squash, stretch, and pull giant cartoon weapons out of thin air. He's been part of groups like the New Warriors, Heroes for Hire, and even Deadpool's Mercs for Money. The fun part is that in battles, physics doesn't apply to him. If you punch him, his head might spin around like Looney Tunes, and then he'll bonk you with a hammer the size of a car. Imagine the Avengers trying to fight Thanos, while slapstick turns the battlefield into slapstick comedy. 8. Doorman. Next up, Doorman, a member of the Great Lakes Avengers. His power is making himself a living doorway. If you need to get from one room to another, he just stands there and lets you walk through him like a portal. He can also go intangible, which sounds impressive until you realize most of his teammates are jokes too. His name alone tells you why he's not famous. Spider-Man swings, Iron Man blasts, and Doorman, he just lets you in. Useful at parties maybe, but not exactly movie star material. 9. Glob Herman. Now, here's a mutant who looks like a science experiment gone wrong. Glob Herman is made entirely of living wax, which means you can see his skeleton and organs through his body. That's already gross, but it gets stranger. He can set his wax on fire and throw flaming chunks of himself at enemies. So, picture this. In battle, he literally peels parts of his body off and hurls them like molten goo. It's powerful, yes, but also nightmare fuel. 10. Bliss. This might be the creepiest design of them all. Bliss is a mutant Morlock, and her power is having a second face. Where is that face? At the end of her tongue. That's right, she opens her mouth and out comes another mouth. With barbed teeth. It's as disturbing as it sounds. She uses this mouth on a tongue to bite enemies, which is both effective and horrifying. Even among mutants with strange looks, Bliss takes the prize for nightmare fuel. And while Marvel has brought her back a few times in comics, you can probably bet we'll never see her in a movie because audiences would run out of the theater. 11. White Rabbit Now. If you thought a rabbit was only good for hopping around, let me tell you about White Rabbit, because she hops straight into crime with jet boots and a mind full of chaos. Her big battle moment comes when she tries to rob a book fair, of all places, and ends up fighting Spider-Man and Frogman. Also, she sends her goons first, but when they fall one by one, she tries to make her getaway. Her jet boots start to spark and sputter, turning her escape into a comedy act. Frogman clunks her into a building, and for a villain with gadgets and big dreams, she falls down hard, more embarrassed than beaten. 12. Frogman. Right after that, we stay with Frogman, because he just cannot help himself. Eugene Patilio thinks he is saving the world, but his frog suit makes him bounce and crash more than he fights. His big battle is against Spider-Man's enemies, but instead of helping, he often crashes into his allies. In one fight, he leaps so high that he forgets how to land, slamming into the bad guys like a big green bowling ball. Spider-Man rolls his eyes, Daredevil groans, but somehow Frogman ends up knocking out the villains, almost by accident. A hero, yes. Graceful? Never. 13. Orca. And from the goofy green frog, we dive deep under the sea where Orca, the man-whale hybrid, fights Namor. This is not a splash fight. This is a tidal wave of power. Orca, with strength from killer whales, chains Namor to one of the creatures like it's a trophy. But when Atlantis itself is attacked, the ocean floor shakes with their clash. Orca grabs a massive stone pillar and swings it down, missing Tiger Shark and smashing the ground so hard that the sea opens up beneath them. The mighty whale warrior falls into the crack, swallowed by the very ocean he tried to control. 14. Beast. Now let's fly high above the waves to Sky Island, where Beast, the two-headed giant, waits for Hulk. Imagine two brains shouting commands while swinging fists the size of cars. The battle begins when Beast kidnaps Betty Ross, and Hulk comes smashing through the clouds. Each punch rattles the floating city, but Beast is not just strong, he is clever, using his brains to outthink Hulk. Yet MODOK sneaks in, wanting the island for himself, and Beast decides that if he cannot win, no one can. He smashes the controls, sending the whole Sky Fortress into ruin, choosing destruction over defeat. 15. Gorgola. Gorgola, the giant gargoyle from space, makes his move. Towering 30 feet tall, his wings shadow the city streets. His battle begins with a stomp that cracks the pavement and a roar that shakes windows. Heroes strike with energy blasts, but Gorgola's stone hide shrugs them off. The real terror comes when he activates alien tech, opening a portal above Earth. Before he can bring the invasion through, the fight turns and the portal is shut down. Gorgola, heavy and furious, crashes back to the ground, proving that even stone giants can fall. 16. Grasshopper. But stone giants are not the strangest thing, because Grasshopper hops into the story and hops right back out. The Great Lakes Avengers welcome him to the team, and before the ink on the roster is dry, he is in battle. Zarin the Weapons Master charges, blades flashing. Grasshopper jumps high to dodge, but the blade finds his face. In less than 6 seconds, his hero career is over. Shortest fight, shortest life, and maybe the most unlucky leap in Marvel history. 17. Four-Bush Man. Pushing forward to Four-Bush Man, he puts a cooking pot on his head and somehow joins the fight. His battle style is not about punches, but about visions. Villains stare into his strange eyes and start seeing things, whole dream worlds that trap them. In one clash, he walks calmly through chaos as his enemies clutch their heads, crying out at visions that only they can see. The pot protects him. The mind breaks them. And somehow this parody hero walks away victorious, with no one really sure how it happened. 18. Spider-Ham. And now for something truly tasty, Spider-Ham, the pig with spider powers. His big battle comes with villains who cannot even take him seriously. Imagine a pig swinging on webs, quipping as hot dogs fly from his pockets. But don't laugh too hard, because Spider-Ham can stick to walls, spin webs, and knock out foes with his snout. In his fight, he swings circles around villains, tying them up while cracking jokes. The fight ends with the bad guys defeated and Spider-Ham chomping on a snack, proving that even a pig can save the day with style. If you had fun diving into Marvel's weirdest side, don't forget to hit like, share this with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss the next strange story.